Hey everybody, I'm Jack, and this is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. Hope you're all doing well out there. Hope you all had a happy hump day. Good day here. It's about 2:30, 3 in the afternoon, and we're starting to get some clouds come in. I just heard a little bit of rain coming down, which is very important these days. We're in this zone right now where we're having almost triple-digit heat indexes every day, so it's a welcome thing to see when those clouds roll in the afternoon and give you a little bit of rain. Anyhow, today I want to talk about the raw food diet, fruit, and blood sugar. Guys, I do videos every day, so if you have not already subscribed to my channel, I'd appreciate it if you'd go down and hit that red subscribe button now, then come back and maybe watch a few more of my videos. I was reading this morning. This is my process, and I like to share what I'm sharing just as organically, just as naturally as it comes up, and I'm exploring things and I'm doing things. I should always point out, I like to take a step back sometimes, even though I've done so many videos and I talk about these subjects, and just clarify. Number one, if you haven't already figured it out, I'm not a terribly emotional person, so none of this food talk is emotional to me. So that's why when people get heated about talking about food, I just get a little awkward. I can't really relate, because I can't relate to what I just don't feel. I mean, it's food we're putting into our body. I just kind of like to share what I'm learning, what I'm studying at the time. And yeah, I'm not very emotional about this. So, you know, I try to be careful not to trigger people on things and step out of bounds and do things that I know is going to rile people up. But people do. They just get kind of cray-cray about this subject here. And also too, because I heard somebody not too long ago saying that I don't advise a raw food diet. Let that sink in for a minute. I do my channel. I don't advise a raw food diet. What I advise is that you learn how to think for yourself. What I advise is you take in a lot of information, and you take in information that conflicts with what I say. I highly encourage you to do that, and you make your own decisions. That's why I guess I'm not very emotional, because I've always just made my own decisions ever since I've come to this lifestyle, and I eat what makes sense to me. Now today I was reading, and this is what I do. You know, sometimes I'm like, okay, I've got a question. I want to look into the blood sugar thing a little bit. So I got my iPad out and I started reading a little. And I was reading 80-10-10, because I haven't used 80-10-10 much in a while. So I started reading in chapter 2. Now this is chapter 2 of 80-10-10. Once again, anybody that disagrees or has philosophical differences with 80-10-10, take out of it what you can. If you can't take anything from it, just reject it and move on. Even better so, though, don't come back arguing with me about it, because I'm not Mr. Science. I'm not going to sit and have this next level debate. Go argue with an 80-10-10 person, or actually go argue with the person that wrote the book. But on the fruit thing, this is where I line up. Meat and fruit concerns head on. Do you know anybody whose candida was caused by eating fruit? Do you know anybody whose diabetes was caused by eating fruit? Do you know anybody whose cancer was caused by eating fruit? If eating fruit didn't cause these maladies, why would you believe that avoiding fruit would correct them? In spite of the fact that fruit has been treated as health food throughout history, condemning fruit has come into vogue in many circles of late. Invariably, when people hear me espousing a diet that is exceptionally high in fruit, they respond with a well-rehearsed litany of questions. The supposed facts about the many hazards of fruit eating. Is there any truth to the allegations about the supposed evils of fruit? Let us take some time to look at a few of them. Fruit and blood sugar. The mistaken notion that eating fruit causes blood sugar problem underlies most admonitions to steer clear of fruit, especially sweet fruit. Granted, high blood sugar does lead to candida outbreaks, chronic fatigue, hyper and hypoglycemia, diabetes, and a host of other conditions and diseases, even cancer. Too much sugar, too much as in quotes, is indeed bad for you, though it is almost impossible to get too much sugar from the consumption of fresh fruit. Eating fruit is not the cause of blood sugar problems. It's just not that simple. I know what I'm saying sounds counterintuitive. It is something like telling people that osteoporosis is not a calcium problem. also too. It says, see the dangers of eating more than 10% protein, which takes us to another chapter. Nevertheless, both are true. Taking in more calcium cannot alone shore up brittle osteoporotic bones, and fruit sugar alone does not cause high blood sugar. Stick with me, if you will, while I explain the real cause. Eating a diet of mostly fruit, including generous amounts of fresh sweet fruit, does not create high blood sugar. Not when you're eating a low-fat diet, that is. When the system is not gummed up with excess fat, the sugar from even high glycemic fruit moves easily in and then out of the blood. Blood sugar levels in a healthy individual do not vary much in spite of changes in the diet. I won't read this whole thing. I'm trying to get through to the highlighted parts, or the best part, or the main parts of it. The glycemic index and glycemic load. The glycemic index ranks carbohydrate foods based on how quickly they break down during digestion, and thus how quickly their sugars enter the blood. Essentially, the glycemic index tells you how quickly carbohydrates turn into blood sugar. However, it doesn't tell you how much of that carbohydrate is in a serving of any food. Both items of information are essential in order to understand a food's effect on blood sugar. That is where the concept of glycemic load comes in. Used in conjunction with the glycemic index, glycemic load information more accurately predicts the extent to which a food elevates blood glucose than does the glycemic index by itself. This is because, by definition, the glycemic index measures carbohydrate quality, but not quantity. Okay, now we'll go down a little bit, and it goes on to say, it is best to eat fruit fresh, as drying and dehydrating both concentrate fruit sugars to an unnatural level that the body is not designed to handle. Here's something that does pertain to me too. I mean, I'm not stubborn. It is also important to eat fruit whole, not juiced, as the fiber in fruit slows sugar absorption to its natural speed. In all cases and with all foods, whole, fresh, ripe, raw, and unprocessed fruit is the way to go. Now, I drink a lot of juice. I don't drink as much orange juice as I used to. And once again, I've felt this in my body, which has led me to make changes. I remember the last time I felt this was last year at the Woodstock Fruit Festival, when I was, getting fruit juice, like orange juice and sugarcane juice up there regularly. Yeah, I couldn't handle the sugar. I couldn't handle orange and sugarcane like I used to. And I know when I was back in Costa Rica and I look back, and that was probably overdoing it, I was drinking massive amounts of juice there. Now, that doesn't mean for me I'm going to stop drinking juice. I don't feel those same kind of, I don't feel the same when I'm drinking the watermelon. I know the watermelon's got sugar in it, but it's mostly water. But I have cut back a lot in the winters, if I am getting oranges, on my orange juice. We're going to talk about this real quick. Fat, not fruit, causes blood sugar problems. The raw food movement is renowned for its use of great quantities of nuts, seeds, avocados, olives, flax, and olive oil, coconuts, and other high-fat foods. On a high-fat diet, whether cooked or raw, people experience nutritional deficiencies, plummeting energy, hormone imbalances, intense cravings, and mood swings. Everything goes haywire, not the least of which is blood sugar. Once again, I'm just discussing this in a non-emotional way. There'll be some of the people that are all about this high fat right now that want to fight over that. Sorry, you got to find somebody else. The mechanism that causes blood sugar to rise out of control is actually very easy to understand. Let's begin with a highly simplified description of how our bodies process sugar. Sugar's three-stage journey through the body. To be used as fuel for our cells, the sugars we eat travel a three-stage journey through our bodies. Stage 1, sugars start out in the digestive tract when we eat them. Stage 2, they pass through the intestinal wall into the bloodstream. Stage 3, they then move smoothly and easily out of the bloodstream and into our cells. This occurs rapidly, often in minutes. When we eat a high-fat diet, the sugar gets trapped in stage 2, which is passing through the intestinal wall into the bloodstream, and the body works overtime, sometimes to the point of exhaustion and disease, in an effort to move the sugar out of the bloodstream. Meanwhile, the sugar backs up in the blood, creating sustained elevated blood sugar that wreaks havoc on the body in the form of candida, fatigue, diabetes, etc. So that's just, like I said, I was trying to think if there was anything else in here. La, 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 la. In fact, the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition article referred to reports that meat, compared to the amount of blood sugar it releases, seems to cause the most insulin secretion of any food tested. So anyhow, that's just kind of like I said, I'm not trying to once again change anybody's mind on anything. That's just about where I come from. That's my take, more or less, on the sugar. Once again, not being an 80-10-10 disciple, not being a hater of it either. I just like to state, though, that I'm no disciple of anything. I try to learn and take from a lot of different sources, and that's what you should too. But take responsibility for yourself and make your own decisions. Don't listen to anybody. God forbid, don't listen to me. Make your own decisions. And that's basically what I always want to share here. Not my way, not advising you to do anything. I'm advising you to do you. Anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this video today. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.